Hey guys, welcome back. It's your girl Menina here with another episode of Legacy Book Bar Sip and Chat. Tonight, I have the pleasure of having author Casandra Charles here with us on the Sip and Chat. Hey girlie, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Fabulous,
Good.
fabulous. So, if people are wondering who is this author? What are we doing this week? Well, Miss Cassandra is one of the newest authors to Legacy Book Bar. We have the pleasure of having, I want to say, 6 of her books here at Legacy Book Bar.
Yep.
Of course, I have it with us ready. So, of course, you better make sure you're paying attention so you can order your books. And Cassandra has the whole set. Yes, we do have the whole set here with us. But yes, we are ready to go. So it's Friday. We made it to the end of the week.
Yes.
And we sip because it is Friday.
You go.
Woo! So everyone's trying to figure out, like, well, how did you meet everyone? I get this question a lot. How do you meet your authors? And I can honestly say it's a variety of ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's, of course, word of mouth, of course. Then you have social media. I have the Be Bold, Be Heard campaign. So you'll have authors that will see that ad and then they'll ask for a guest spot, which, of course, all of our guest spots are free. And they'll come on, we'll talk, and they're like, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. How can I get in the store? And then we have people like Cassandra that actually came to our book summit last year and just came on a humble. She saw the flyer, saw the ad, was like, hey, I want to travel. I'm going to come.
Yeah.
Had such a great time and decided this was a good place to have her book. So we want to thank you for allowing us to have your babies here
Yes.
with us. So let everyone know. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Oh my goodness. I feel like it's like a job interview. No,
it is. We gotta know everything.
no. Yeah. Cassandra Charles. I was born and raised in Brooklyn. Parents a West Indian background, Trinidadian. And I was an avid reader. I always believed that in order to be a real writer, in my opinion, you definitely have to be like a reader. And I am an avid reader. I've obviously read the classics, The Coldest Winter Ever, Be More Careful, True to the Game, Fly Girl. And I just always fell in love with the story, with a good story. And for me, I was just like, well, whatever happened to this character and whatever happened to that character? And I always said, I'm going to write a book one of these days. And this was definitely Cassandra from, fresh out of college, ambition high. And I was like, I'm going to write a book one of these days. And everybody's like, yeah, you should totally do it, because you have that circle of friends that just kind of go through, you just see everything. Like at the time I went to Morris Brown College, which is a HBCU school in Atlanta, Georgia. And just the atmosphere of Atlanta, there was so much going on. I have a bachelor's degree in TV production. So I was in the production world, hanging with a lot of celebrities. And it was just so much stuff. This is before social media. Well, I mean, I guess MySpace and Facebook was kind of new, but yeah, it was before social media. So there was like a lot of drama and I just kind of witnessed it all the time. And I said, if I ever write a story, I would really kind of write it super loosely on my life and all the things that I've always been around. And the series started off with being 3 books. Because I said, again, when I read a good story, I always want to know what happens next. What happens next? So the storyline started off with 3 books. And not going to lie, I always tell this part of my life. It took me 10 years. 10 years to finish Lust and Lies. And I started writing it and then I would just put it down and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I started writing, put it down, started writing, put it down. And I remember back in 2014, I was working somewhere and I hired an assistant and I was like, what do you do? And she was like, I'm a writer. I'm like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to write a book. And mind, this is 10 years later, 9 years later or so. And she was like, you should just write. And I'm like, yeah, that's easier said than done. And she's like, no, it really is pretty easy. Just write a story, and she really like assisted me and supported me and got me hooked up with an editor and a formatter. And I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds so real. And that was it. Lust and Lies was done. Again, it was supposed to be a 3-book series. And I just enjoyed writing so much. The feedback was just really amazing. I got really good reviews off the back. I always laugh at myself to say, I started my journey in 2015 officially. And
Mm.
I really thought I was going to be like the Terry McMillans of the world, like the Sister Soldier, like everyone's just going to see the book and they're just going to buy it. It's going to be a bestseller. And I
Mm.
realized, oh, I actually have to market. I actually have to like, oh, like talk to people and stuff. And I'm so
Mhm.
private and I'm so like low key. And it took me about 3 years where I was in my third book that I realized that I really have to put myself out there. And I started doing these book fairs. I started doing podcasts. I started doing, you
Mm.
know, local festivals and stuff. And I realized I'm like, oh, I'm actually selling books. Like I'm selling a lot more books face to face. And then I started receiving mentorship from well-established authors. Like, how do you
Mm.
do it? What's going on with you? And I remember one time I went to a Chicago book fair and this author's sold well over 1 million books. And she was like, and I was like, I used to follow you on social media, but you post yourself all the time. And this is a true story. And she said, well, people have to like you in order to read your book. And I was like, that's
Mm.
the realest thing I ever heard, because you would think people would want to read a storyline. No, people need to like you as an individual in order to support you as an author.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's why I started my rebranding of who I was. I rebranded my books. I changed the cover of it.
Mm.
I
Mhm.
started really putting myself out there. I started kind of going by Author Casandra Charles, doing
Mm.
more book fairs, really just excited about this journey. And now, you asked me what I did for a living years ago. I'm like, I'm assistant director at a nonprofit. Now you ask me what I do for a living. I'm like, I'm a self-published author. I'm embracing it now. And it's an amazing journey. And I'm so grateful to be on all these new streaming sources out there. I think in 2022, or just even the last couple years, I seen on Amazon that we have over 1 million authors right now. And it's like, wow, this is a platform that's so easy for us to get into, but also, it's 1 million of us out there. So how do you stand apart? How do you set yourself apart? And it's really about connections, people really liking you, having a
Mm.
good storyline. I'm a sucker for a good cover. So really just getting that spiciness, that juiciness in there. You can clearly tell as you make it through my six book journey, my writing style started changing. Book one is safe, nice and safe. It's cute.
Okay.
Book two, okay, we're getting the storyline. Book three, I was like, listen,
Took the gloves off.
I'm having a great time. It's called Pillow Talk. I really just tapped into like writing as a guy, and I really believe starting from book three to the rest of my series, you can really see the growth in being an
Mhm.
author, being an independent author, and just really standing out. So it's been an amazing journey. I absolutely love it. I'm writing a new book now. I just started writing standalones, and it's just been such a fun journey overall. So yeah, that's me.
Well, I totally love it. I hear the passion in your voice. So you're definitely excited about what you're doing. So in your story, you mentioned that your books are self-published. So if anyone's affiliated with Legacy Book Bar, or maybe you're just watching tonight for the first time, that's what Legacy Book Bar is all about, is giving the voices to Black self-published authors, because unfortunately there's still that stigma behind, oh my gosh, she's self-published, oh my god, why did he do that? I don't understand. Like, oh, they must not have been good enough to get published. And that's not
Yeah.
the reason why authors of today are going the self-published route.
hmm
Tell us, why did you go that route?
Um, I don't like deadlines. And I don't say that to be
Mm.
like I just, kind of free spirited, but I wanted to have creative control to write at my own pace and
Mm.
not have someone like breathe down my neck and force me to say, all right, put something out. We had
Mm.
something due next year. And I've been approached after I've started the series. I think when I got around book 5 and I was writing my last book, I got approached by 3 different publications asking if
Mm.
I wanted to go in the publication route. But I wanted more control. Like their thing was,
Mm.
we're going to change the book cover. We're going to change it up a little bit. And, we want to do different things. And I'm just like, I appreciate it. I think it's a great opportunity. But for me, I still like the creative ability. I like to connect with the readers.
Mhm.
And I love being a self-published author. I feel like when I meet, so I work in a nonprofit and I deal with young individuals, 18 to 20, 18 and up. And I love to tell them that I'm a self-published author, and they think it's so cool. They think it's so amazing.
Mhm.
And I feel like where we're at in the world right now, in this new decade,
Mhm.
you can do this on your own. I
For
mean, yeah,
sure.
you want to be backed by a well-established publication, but overall, you can do this on your own. Like
Mhm.
these individuals, these authors that I met that are selling millions of books, they're self-published. They're
Yeah.
not under anyone else. So it's not like you can be successful as a self-published author.
Mhm.
You can. It's just it does require you to do a little bit more. But so
Mhm.
if I work 40 hours for my job, I actually will be able to work close to 40 hours for myself. And I'm starting
Absolutely.
to learn that. And as much as I love to hate social media, it's an amazing platform. And I've just by being on some social media, thank you. Just by being on social media, I've actually seen huge growth. And I don't feel like a publication can really truly like my not to say my DMs are really lit, but I get direct messages all the time from authors or readers and they're just sharing that. And I personally feel like I think that would get a little lost if I was in a publication. My opinion, I could be wrong. I think I'll get a little lost. That one-on-one connection to be able to talk to your readers and talk to your fans and tell them, my journey or just help them
Mhm.
mentor them. And it's fun. I mean, it's fun. There's no pressure. I think that's really what it comes down to. It's no pressure, but
Okay.
definitely everyone to each his own. If you want to go in the publishing route, then and you have the opportunity to do it, I definitely think it's
Mhm.
something you should explore.
Oh,
I
for
just
sure.
felt this was a little bit more comfortable for my direction as right now. I mean, I make things may change down the line. I don't know, but it's
Mhm.
fun. I'm having a good time.
And I think that's this the most different answer that I've heard, doing these interviews for the last year and a half. 90% of everyone has said, of course, they want not control. What do they say? They want their own money. They
Yeah.
whatever they kick out, they want that back. And that's been, of course, the same thing. But I actually like this answer about the creative control of, working at your own pace and staying true to your brand and to your characters. I actually like that.
Yeah.
Um, if you're a reader and you're on Facebook or social, any type of social media, and you're following some of the bigger name authors on social media, you'll be surprised how quite a few of them have decided to branch off into self-publishing because they're not 20s anymore where they can just churn out books. They want to take their time, and
Yep.
they're letting social media build their brand. So social media can be a gift and a curse. It's
Absolutely.
all in how you use your resources.
Yep.
um I will tell anybody, you have to make the best decision for you. We get a lot of questions like, oh, does Legacy BooKBar publish? Absolutely not. Not, not, not gonna do it. And again, like you said, I'm never going to say never.
Yeah.
But at least right now I can say, yeah, not so much
Yeah.
we can self-publish, because that's a beast all by itself.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do decide to go the self-publishing route, I tell everyone, do your research, know yourself, because you totally have to know what type of individual you are.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no marketing machine when you self-publish. You are the
Yeah.
machine. So
Yep.
you have to learn, which I did. Like, I was like, I know how to use Facebook, I know how to use Instagram, but now using social media for business purposes
Yeah.
was a totally different beast.
Oh yeah.
That I was like, wait, why do we have to do this?
Oh,
What?
it's a full job on social media. It's
Yes,
crazy.
like learning your hashtags. Facebook doesn't need hashtags, but Instagram and Twitter does. But Twitter can only give you a certain amount of characters, and
Yeah.
like you can only use 26, but don't post too much because then the algorithms. Like, it was a whole
Yeah.
taking a college course. So I tell everyone, whatever you feel comfortable with, do it, but get research from both sides of the field, because unfortunately we get a lot of people that traditionally publish that get mad halfway through the process that they should have self-published, or self-published authors like, well, why didn't that publishing company do A, B, and C? Because their job was to edit, format, and you do the rest. And they didn't understand the difference.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, make sure you do your homework, no matter what side of the ball.
But it's always a good story that the author of the Harry Potter series, J.K. Rowling, her story is amazing. I can't remember the exact number, but it was like she reached out to like 50 publications and heard no 49 times or something crazy. That it was a high number. And look who she's at. She's a billionaire on books. But like, nope, they closed the door. And she actually just kept on going and kept pursuing it. And now look what she is. She's an amazing. And also, I think she first got published after 40.
Yeah.
So it's like her story is definitely like, never give up. You know, just because I chose a different route doesn't mean that you should, other people should choose a different route. Do what works best for you and just kind of like follow through and stick with it. Believe in what you write. People always ask me all the time, how do I become a writer or how I become an author? And I'm like, honestly, my easiest answer, just write. Like I should get just write. Because seriously, just write. Once you get the story out there, you will find someone who will read it. Like finding an editor and finding a formatter, easy. You got a couple of $100, you can find both of them. Amazon or, these other sites allows you to put a book together. You're done. Easy. It's really writing that storyline and really putting together, again, being a reader is important because what do you like when you read a book? Do you like the plot to be early on? Do you like the story to drag on? Do you like, it was funny, someone posted the other day on social media, how detailed do you like your sex scenes?
I saw that post.
You saw that?
I saw that.
I need all of it. I need to know what color they were wearing.
Yes.
What color was the wall? I need all of it.
I want you to describe. I need to see what you envisioned on it. I need to see that
wall and see what's going on in that.
Yes.
But there's other people who don't like that. So when I write from what I would like to see. So I write very detailed. Other people was just like, nah, I just want to get to it. So most people, so it's like also understanding your audience, but also write what you would like to read. So don't shortchange your readers by putting something that you yourself would have wanted to know the paint color on the wall. But then again, there's some books that I read, they tell me too much information. I'm just like, okay, like, like, okay, so I didn't need to know that you got that wallpaper from IKEA. Like, I just like, it's too much information.
You have to have that fine line between too much information or just enough. Like,
exactly.
But I feel like authors also learn that as they grow. Like at the beginning, you'll get the ones like, why did we have 2 pages on the sky was blue?
Listen, once you get to book 3, you will be like, okay. But yeah, 1 and book 2 was definitely a learning curve for me. But I also tell people it builds a storyline. If you sit through a movie, that first 2 episodes, they were good, but you were like, but you're building a character. I'm letting you really get into the character's mind straight out of college, really trying to understand life. Second book was really about understanding who she is as the individual, taking her back just a little bit further back. And then book 3, book 4, book 5, and book 6 is more relatable. I mean, if you read the book in its full series, and people read it all the time, people read it one at a time, but when you read the book in its full series, you like, okay, I see why book 1 started off really slow because it makes sense in book 4 or book 5. So, and I did that on purpose, but also here is a tip for anyone who's writing a series. I lost a lot of my readers because I waited too long to put the next book out. And the funny thing, as a reader, that's me. I hate reading a series that is not finished. I'll be like, oh, it's not finished? Don't call me when the series is finished so I can read the whole thing together because I'm impatient. I don't like waiting. And I did exactly what I don't like to my own readers. So yes, it took me 5 years to finish all 6 series. And the books, just to let you know, your readers know, it ends in a cliffhanger. So it's not like I ended it. Well, the first one ends okay. The second, third, the rest of it ends in a little bit of a cliffhanger. So you have
my God, I've died 1,000 deaths.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So people don't like me sometimes, but now that the whole series is done, now you don't hate me because everything is done. So you can sit down and binge read, and you can read all 6 books at one time and read it back to back to back to really understand and get the storyline. And when people read it together back to back, they're like, okay, good job. I get it. I see where everything's going. But yeah, I lost a lot of readers early on because I had people wait anywhere between 8 months to 14 months between each book. Lesson learned. I didn't know that. But again, I didn't want someone to rush me into a storyline. But if I was with a publication, they would have been like, all right, you can't
got
let a
5
reader
months.
wait. But you can't let someone wait that long. So it
Yeah.
was definitely trial and error. I learned so much in this process. And now I am like an open book, like to just letting people know how to get started. What are some of the things that I've learned? The trial and errors. And I feel like, again, there's a million authors out there. If I'm sitting there worrying about everyone stealing my idea, listen, I'm an open book. Hit me up on my DM, message me, ask me questions about the process. Someone even asked me who was my editor and formatter. Here you go. Here's their information. It's not a secret. It's not a secret.
And it's so unfortunate that people want to hold on to that information and not share it. Because I always tell people, don't hold somebody's money back. Like you're trying to keep, I want to keep this editor to myself. But that editor has to feed their family. They have to feed themselves.
Yeah.
So you're blocking that editor from making money. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Like, if I can buy a CD from
writing, I'm also comfortable in my series. So it's like, I support you. I empower you. I'm excited for you to finish your book and get it out there. Not to say you're not competition, but like, be confident in your own brand. Because I'll be the first one to be like, I will read your book, sis. I'm excited to read it. Or King, I'm excited to read your book and let me see what's out there. And I'm the first one to say it was really good. I liked how you put this, that, and the third. Because again, I'm a reader as well as a writer. So I'm not going to hold someone back if they're ambition, because the person who helped me and got me to where I'm at right now, she didn't hold me back. She willingly gave me the editor, the formatter. She told me how to even publish it on Amazon. Like they helped me so much back in 2014 and 15. And I'm so grateful for the experience. Now I took what I've learned and said, okay, I appreciate you telling me this way, but I like it this way better. And that's what I learned over time. So you take the foundation that someone gives you, they plant that seed. And once the tree starts growing or whatever starts growing, then it's up to you to prune it how you want it to work out for you. So it's definitely something that I want people to like experience. If you ever want to write a book, just write. There's avenues out there. People like myself will help you. Tip me up. I will tell you kind of who I use, what I've used. And I always tell people, you get what you pay for. Free. All right. There's going to be efforts in there. There's going to be, the cover wasn't the same, but you get what you pay for. I'm not saying you have to spend a ton of money to be this, but definitely you get what you pay for, and do your resources. Like you said, do your resources, know what's out there, know, who's out there, who's doing what, and use that to your advantage and just go and have fun. Like, don't let it stress you. I promise you, authors are not an author to make money. We're in this business because we enjoy writing. This is a passion of ours. And then, yes, we will make money from it. But please don't come to the table saying, I'm going to make money. I'm going to write a book. It's not. You have to be passionate. And you can't force someone to buy your book or support you if your overall goal is just to make money from it.
Yeah,
we're not. Ebooks, which is a great thing. You ain't making a ton of money off of ebooks. It's a great avenue, but you ain't literally an ebook. You will make maybe like 50 cents a book, roughly, depending on how much a book goes for. You're not making a ton of book on ebook. Paperbacks, doing these book fairs, like your legacy book fair, doing book fairs. Those were and speaking engagement. Those are things that really can help. If you're doing it for the money, put money in your pocket, but you have to do so much. You have to sell out so much. On an average book fair, I bring 20 books. I mean, you can do the math on that. It's not like I'm walking away. I'm usually breaking even, but also those connections I made with those readers and authors are priceless. And I did my book fair and I connected with you. So here we are.
And I think a lot of people don't understand the importance of positive connections in this industry. Like everyone, not everyone, but the ones that are, trying to make that quick buck.
Yeah.
You're missing out on the connection aspect because the aura that you're giving off is like you know everything. Oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And you're like, but you know what? I got a great person that could really just put you off the map, and then you don't want to take it.
Yeah.
And I've come across now again, I've only been in this game 2 years. Is it 2 years? What year is this?
20.
Yes. Oh my God, it's 2020.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. And I've come across quite a few authors where it's like, what, you had a really the plot of the story was good. You could see where the book was gonna go. You just needed a little bit of fine tuning. And I tell everyone, we are affiliated with 3 female Black-owned publishing companies. One of the 3 is going to get your book right. It's going to get you there. Because I, as the bookstore owner, I've done the research on what readers are going to look for. So I'm telling you from, we're going to fix this.
Yeah.
Then you don't want to, but then you're missing out on a graphic designer, your illustrators, if you're doing like a comic book series, want self-publishing, you can keep it Black owned and still retain all of your creative control with your book. And you don't want to take the help. And I'm just like, you're killing me. Like, you're killing me, killing you. And then, my DM will go off. And it's like, do you still have that number? And it's a year and a half later. And I'm like, I sure do. And my mom like, I told you this a year ago. But you're ready when you're ready.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, it's, if you're like me, I'm going to listen to music by whomever, all genres. I don't care. I'm going to read all genres. I don't care, because I just want to read a book. I want to read a good, then a book by us. Like, I want to read that, but let's do it right. And we're going to help you. It's so many resources out, and then free resources that can really, really help you. You just have to be open to a critique and being okay that there might be someone that knows more than you, and you're being okay with accepting that information.
Yeah. I think that's the hard part. A lot of people aren't open to the critique. And I always say I don't come from a harsh place. I'm really just trying to help and support. I remember one time I saw this, it's not funny, but I saw this person. She kept saying author, like she's an author, but she kept saying Arthur,
like the name Arthur,
like the name Arthur. And I say, hey sis, I hope this comes across politely. I'm just letting you know, I believe you're trying to spell author. You keep saying Arthur. She was like, nope, that's what I wanted to say. I'm trying to be different. Girl, I got blocked so fast on her page, and then she ended up changing it, but she blocked me, and I'm like, I was really just trying to help. I wasn't trying to make anyone feel bad. But yeah, I'm the person that would read, and people may hate me, but I'm the person that would read a book, and I read on my Kindle. It's funny because I actually just got a new Kindle today. I would read a book on my Kindle, and I would take pictures of it. And I'm like, hey, like I just finished the book today, and it was a really good book. And I try not to ding for errors and stuff. And literally page 2, it was supposed to say glove compartment, and it said glow compartment. I'm like, I was like, hey sis, just to let you know. And she was like, I'm not gonna lie, this is my first book, and I didn't have enough money to get a formal editor, so I try to edit it myself. And I was like, all right, no problem, here you go. I was like, here's some editors. It's not a lot of money, but you get what you pay for. But even so, $200, you can find because it was a novel. It was a very short read, so it wasn't like about $250. If you can afford that, you can get an editor. And at the end of the day, reread what your editor does. Please do not think your editor is not a human and they won't make their own errors. I said, reread what your editor's done, because sometimes, like, if your editor is not African American, or if your editor is not different, I always want, the slang we say in New York and New Jersey is totally different than what Virginia says. So it's like a lot of the slangs that you're saying, the editor may change the slang to spell it differently, or just like how you say T, you may say T/shirt, and they may put TEE shirt. So it's like, just be mindful. And I always say, read after your editor edits. Please don't be
Mm-hmm.
lazy, you know, and I'm not saying lazy, but like don't be mindful of what you're putting out there and just always read after. And like I'm about to say, 90% of people are like, all right, I appreciate it. Thanks for the help, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that 10%, for some reason, it's insulting to them that I
Yeah.
guess little old me, but I'm a reader though. It's not like I'm coming at you from an author. I'm a reader and I'm saying, hey, I found an error. And if you at least acknowledge the error or understand the error, that can save you a review. But
Mm-hmm.
even trying to hear it and I just constantly see these mistakes, it's going to reflect on your review. And I'm going to say, great story, or it had so many grammatical errors and it was hard to, you know, it was hard to kind of get through it. So you got to understand, and as reviews are important, but not really important, but they're
Mm-hmm.
important. So just be mindful, like put your best quality work out there if possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us, what are some of the? I know you said one of your biggest or one of a big takeaway was not spacing out your stories so long
Yep.
as far as putting them out there. What are your other like takeaways you would give to a new author?
Again, I'm basing it on a series. So when I first did my series, if you can look in this little corner here, it says book 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously there's book 2. So when I first did the series, I didn't put numbers on the corner. And I physically put it in the book. Now, if you open the book in book 1, it literally will say, oh, ready to go. It says book 1 in the series. Right,
Okay.
it's book 1 in the series. So I thought people will know that it's book 1 in the series. And a lot of people started reading the books out of order.
Mm.
I learned to keep it simple. What's that word? Kiss, keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple.
So, like, even putting it on the front, I put it on the spine. I'm literally making life much easier. So when people put it on their bookshelf and they see it, they can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they can see it kind of in order. Um, a lot of people will gravitate to a good cover,
For sure.
a good title, synopsis. I am not a big fan of a synopsis giving me the whole storyline. I like
Mm.
synopsis to give me just enough for me to want to read it, but also be like, oh, that's where this book is going. But when people give a synopsis for me and it has the whole story in there, I already can put 2 and 2 together and figure out, okay, clearly she's going to get with the guy or whatever, whatever. So it's like the synopsis is really important. Um, I myself, I don't write with an outline. Not everyone can do this, and this is not a right or wrong way of writing. I
Mm-hmm.
don't write with an outline. I have a general idea where the book can go, and then I just kind of write, and it somehow comes to something. But some people can physically have to write down an actual outline. It's a debate on Facebook. I see it all the time. Do you write an outline, or do you just kind of go off the top of your
Mm.
head? Just be mindful when you do that. Not everyone can do it. So, and then, like I said, you get what you pay for. I spend money a graphic designer. I spend money on a formatter. I spend money on an editor. I don't regret that. I myself, I am dyslexic. I have adult dyslexia. This is something I've suffered for many, many years since I was a child.
Mm.
And I'm aware that I will never edit my own work because I don't see what people see. So I already know my limitations. Know your
Mm.
limitations and receive the help and support from people and you know, people who are professional in what they do. Like an editor, they sit home all day, nothing but edits. A formatter, they would just, and for those who may not know what a formatter, if even when you're reading a paperback or an ebook, a formatter will put things in order. So a
Yep.
formatter will have the next chapter and it may be a page break. If you ever read a book and it has like chapter 1, and then somehow on the bottom of it says chapter 2 on the very bottom of the same chapter 1 page, you're like, that's because the formatting was a little off. There's free formatting sites out there. My formatter literally charges me $45 to edit a ebook and a paperback. For me, worth $45. Why? Because I don't want that inconsistency. So
Mm-hmm.
those are just things that you learn. But again, trial and error. I actually had the same formatter and editor from the very beginning. But yeah,
Okay.
error. It's just kind of like you learn as you grow for sure. But be open to the critique. Be open to the recommendations people give you.
Absolutely, absolutely, and remembering that not all critique is coming from a bad place, because that's not where it is. A lot of it is like, I see the greatness in what this is, but 2 little tweaks to the left,
Yeah.
and you will have a bona fide masterpiece
Yeah.
on your hands.
Yeah.
And just looking at it, and you can, if you're open, you can tell if that critique is coming from some shadiness in that dark area, like in Lion King, like we don't go to that shadowy place over there, or if it's coming from somebody that really has your best interest at heart. So you just have to find that balance
Yeah.
in your work. So we're going to talk a little bit about Books of One,
Yay.
Lust and Lies. And
Yeah.
yes, if you're going to ask, of course she's going to have her book club, her book of the month. Never fear. We have March and April lined up. We have a whole lot more months in the year to go. So never fear. Her story is coming up soon. So just make sure that you're paying attention to social media and to the website or when her book of the month is coming.
Yes.
So Lust and Lies. Tell us a little bit about that.
Ooh, all right. So it's an introduction to the Jamie Reynolds Chronicles. So Jamie Reynolds, also known as JR, early on in life, straight out of college, has a bachelor's degree and is working in the production world. This is a man's world, production world. So she was always about her business, really out there to work, make money, make a name for herself. And love was never in her cards per se.
Mm-hmm.
And then she meets a gentleman. She meets a guy named Antonio Hall, also known as Tony. And yeah, he just kind of says all the right things and does all the right things, and kind of change her perspective of relationships. Her father in the book got sick, and the character stops what she's doing with her career and moves back to New Jersey, New York, I guess you can say. And Tony was just there for her throughout the whole journey. And it's, I don't want to give too much away, but it's like she thought this person was there for her and was there as a support system. And that individual was not. That person was full of lust because they loved each other. It was a full of lot of lies. And yeah, it was just like, it's a real introduction to who she was, who she is as an individual, and the struggles that she begins to go through. So it's like, she wants to be the strong, independent woman, and she is, but then she falls in love with someone who takes her down a few steps, a few notch. And I think a lot of people always say my books are very relatable. You know, the women in the books are like me and you, you know, in our early 20s. And I don't know about your story, but in our early 20s, my whole circle of friends, we were in like relationship hell. Like relationships was just like,
Girl,
why are you with this guy? Like, you know, you can do better. But then when you're in your early 20s, you don't know what better is. You think
my early 20s could be a book of
so you think this is the person you're gonna be with forever. You think of marriage, and it's just like, no, that's not what's in the line for you. And also that's not what's best for you. So really just understanding, learning and growing. Throughout the whole series, you're gonna learn about, you know, it's, I like to say, to sum it up in one sentence, the rise and fall of an independent woman. That's usually the whole series in itself. So it's like you watch her at her peak, you watch her fall, you watch her try to climb back up to wherever happiness is. And that's what the whole series is about. So again, book 1 is Lust and Lies. Book 2 is Secret Reveal. And this is really like, kind of, so the first book, you kind of like, who are you? You know, kind of where are you at in life? And the second book is really like, you are just learning about a little bit of her past. Who is she? What's her past all about? Pillow Talk is fun. So you have the male characters in book 1 and book 2.
Okay.
Have their own book in book 3. And this is when I get a little edgy.
Okay.
So the men of book 1 and book 2 each have a whole they have a whole short story. And what they're doing is they're giving their point of view of the female character from book 1 and book 2. Like in the book 1 and book 2, you're hearing from a female's point of view. Oh my gosh, this guy did this guy did that. And Pillow Talk 1, you're hearing from the guy's version of why he did what he did, or what's his point of view from the character. And then there's a one character in Pillow Talk 1 that he gets to we pull him out and we give him his own storyline with the main character, Jamie. All right, brace yourself. Pillow Talk 2. I just went into, I must have been drunk. I don't know what was going on. This was by far my most creative book ever.
Well, I should start with that one then. Wait a minute.
You see how thick this book is, child?
Oh my gosh.
Listen, I don't know what I was thinking when I read this book. I'm like, who are you? This book is it's
I
so
love
twisted.
it.
But no, it's Pillow Talk 2. There's one particular character that we focus on, and it's really the Mike and Mary saga. And it's about I don't want to give too much away, but it's about in book 2, it says here in book 2, you learn about this guy named Mike, and he ended up having I don't want to give too much away, but this is his like secret love affair. Caution, she drinking right. Listen, Karen, listen. If you drink it right, you come up with Pillow Talk too. I can say that. Okay? And this is by far my most favorite book that I wrote ever. And I'm always drinking and writing, by the way. No, I'm joking. No, but it's my favorite book ever to write.
I mean, I'm drinking and reading, so I mean, hey, go
Same
for
thing,
it. I'm okay.
But no, but Pillow Talk too, it also challenged me as a writer. I slowly touched on some erotica stuff. There's like a sex dungeon in here. It's all kind of foolishness in here. It's a great book. That's one of my favorites. And then the last one, which is also another.
Wait, we can't roll by that one so fast. Like, wait a minute.
This is again, but you gotta read it in order. You can't skip over, guys. You can't
skip, guys. Over. Oh my goodness.
You cannot skip over. You got to read it in order. But book 2, like I said, Pillow Talk 2 was one of my favorites to write. And then book 6 was the last book, and it really just puts everything together. I don't want to give it away, but it just goes through a whole. Goes through a whole emotional roller coaster, and she touches on everything that she's just been through. I like to say my 6-book series is following one character within like a 10 to 15 span of her life. And again, that's what I felt I was missing when I read books. Like I felt like I read books and people would just jump like 5 years later. And I'm like, wait, what happened? What happened here? Or they would just end the book and it just has you wondering what would happen. I literally touched every single aspect of one character, from relationship, from marriage, from financial ruins, from sex, from sex toys, from everything you could think of. I touch it in the full 6-book series. So it's a lot to read, but if you're a reader, then you will enjoy a full 6-book series. But it starts with Lust and Lies, which is book 1. Really starts defining the character, who she is, what she's all about. You will see there's one part in the book where it says, "Oh, you still got that ring that Robert gave you?" And I don't mention Robert anywhere else, but Robert gets mentioned in book 2 and book 3. So it's like I touch on certain things, and if you read the book consistently, then you will follow it. But when you touch it on, and then you wait 6 months and you wait a year to write the next one, they're gonna be like, "Who's Robert? Where did he come from?" So it's like if you read them back to back to back, you will actually understand and kind of see what I did there. But yeah, and I always, here's a tip for authors: if you're gonna do a series, reread your first book, your second book before you do the next book. I've always reread my book, and I will have this. I have my notepad right next to me, which is all scrapped, but that's my outlining. I would write down, jot certain things down, like, oh yeah, I remember I mentioned Robert's The Ring. Oh yeah, don't forget I mentioned, she got a car crash. Like I would just mention certain things, and that's the outline that I use. So when I write again, I make sure to go back and fill in the blanks to the stuff that I mentioned at one point in any of the series. So that's the books.
Yes, we are super excited. And yes, guys, all 6 books are at Legacy BooKBar. So never fear. If you are as intrigued as I am, you know exactly where to get that. And of course, as always, when we have our sipping chats, we get 10% off when you order a book through the author that's interviewed for the sipping chat. You get 10% off. And I believe I made the shop code. Actually, I think I made it sip in chat for the shop code.
He was drinking.
I was probably drinking when I made this shop code. Probably. Or up extremely late at night drinking. Like, I got to get this done. But who's to say? But yes, you definitely can use that shop code. You can get 10% off. And then definitely make sure you are paying attention on social media. And, of course, following us or making sure that you sign up to be part of the newsletter and you can get all this information before social media does.
There you go.
Tonight was amazing. I'm so thankful that you were here. I love when we have our new authors here with us. They just bring, that bright light. I love it. And they're so energetic. I love it. Hopefully we can have her back here again in person when we do our next book fair in October. Again, she will have her book club probably before then. So just make sure, again, like I said, you're paying attention to that. So we talked about a lot with you today. It was so much fun. Actually, I learned a little bit today, which I love because life is ever changing and you can never know too much information.
Yeah.
So with everything that you shared today, and of course, more stories are coming out. Your life is changing. I know you have kids, so you never know where your life will take you in the next 25, 30 years. Hopefully with more and more stories just as amazing as the Jamie Reynolds Chronicles. So if you look back over your entire life, personal, career, the stories, everything, you put all of that together and you sit back and you look at it and you'll say, oh my gosh, what do I want my legacy to be? Answer that question for me.
I want my legacy to be. Ooh, that's a great question. You should have questions before I finish this glass here.
No.
I like that. I want my legacy to be anything you want to be. I want people to know that I lived my life the way I wanted to live. I wrote books that made me happy. I did the unthinkable. When I inspire people by having adult dyslexia, and people hear that I've written not one, not two, but I actually written 7 books, and people are inspired by that. So my legacy, I want people to know that you can be whatever you want to be, and I did it, and I am happy and blessed and grateful, and don't give up. I have my tattoo on my arm here. It says live, laugh, love. My legacy will be I lived, I laughed, and I loved. And that is the best advice or energy or something that I feel like that is truly a definition of who I am as an individual.
I love it. I love it. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's broadcast. We are going to hear and see more of Miss Casandra Charles. So definitely make sure that, of course, you're following Legacy BooKBar. And of course, you can also follow Author Casandra Charles on her own social media platforms. We will get her link and her information and make sure we put it in the comment section so you guys can see that. And if you would like to follow her, please make sure that you do. As you know, tonight's episode is live aired on Facebook and YouTube. So make sure that you share with your friends and family on both platforms so that you can hear the amazing conversation we had tonight with Author Casandra Charles. Make sure you tune in to next week. We will have author. What's next week? Next week, I believe I have author Shay August, who writes paranormal romances, and she also has a series. And she's also a new author coming to Legacy BooKBar. So next week is going to be great. And then the following week, we have our oldie but goodie, my love bug. We have Indy Jones, who will be talking about her newest book. I believe she did her book of affirmation, woman resilience. I have it somewhere. She's going to kill me because I definitely forgot the name, but we have it. I'm going to post about it, so don't kill me. But she will be here in March. And then we'll round out the end of the month with something really great for you guys. So just make sure that you stay tuned. Casandra, thank you so much for joining us tonight. To our guests that watched tonight, again, have a great weekend. Please stay safe. COVID is still outside, so please be as safe as you possibly can. And make sure that you join us right back here next Friday night at 8 o'clock for another episode of Legacy BooKBar Sip and Chat. Good night, guys. Have a good one.